Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1118 AN. Today's date is March 18th, 2019, and the title of the episode is The Founding Fathers Knew the Secret of the Central Bankers. Now, don't you just love it when you find a $20 bill in a jacket pocket you haven't worn in ages, or a purse you've not used for a long time? Well, imagine this, finding hundreds of dollars in the papers that are sitting in your file cabinet. I'm talking about that old 401k paperwork. That money is sitting there doing nothing. Our friends at Noble Gold can cast an eye over that lost paperwork and see if you qualify for a precious metals IRA with it. So they're offering one of these special Morgan Silver dollars for all qualified IRAs above $20,000. So dig out the old paperwork and click the link below to get started on your gold IRA. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, our founding fathers, they knew the secret of the central banking system. They knew that paper currency eventually destroys a nation. And they knew how to stop it. They knew that they could never let this happen because once the central bank takes control, they corrupt a system. And of course, once the system is corrupt, guess what? You have to go back to some type of standard, a gold standard. And we see from history, this is why the founding fathers created the Constitution, the rights of the people, and created a system where the people coin their own money, create their own currency without a private Western central bank. This is why this is the third private Western central bank in the United States. Two others were kicked out. This one is about to be kicked out. And we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to head out to the UK because we can see that the people of the UK are saying, listen, we already voted twice now on May's deal, which is really the EU deal. We'll no longer vote on this deal. Speaker John Bercow said that the government could not bring forward proposals for a vote in a parliament that were substantially the same as had already been defeated twice before, in January and last week. He said, this is my conclusion. If the government wishes to bring forward a new proposition that is neither the same nor substantially the same as that disposed by the House on the 12th of March, this would be entirely in order. What the government cannot legitimately do is to resubmit to the House of Commons the same proposition or substantially the same proposition as that of last week, which was rejected by 149 votes. This is what he said. We'll have to see what the EU does now, what May does now. Because basically what they're saying is, listen, this failed twice already. We're not looking at this deal. We need something different. And of course, remember what May said, that this is the only deal. This is the only deal that the EU gave her. And I believe they're going to look for a delay in the Brexit. And this is exactly what the central banks want. They want the UK to stay in limbo. And we'll have to see how this all plays out, but it looks like this is where we're headed. Unless all of a sudden May comes up with this incredible deal. Or maybe the people should come up with the deal and pass it off to May and say, this is what we would like. Now, here in the United States, we know that the central bank system is deteriorating. It's collapsing. Trump right now is trying to bring back as many manufacturers, as many businesses, and create as many jobs as possible. Because as the central bank system implodes on itself, we need to have these plants, we need to have these corporations, we need to have these jobs in place. And this is a very difficult thing to do because corporations right now, most of them are teetering on bankruptcy. They bought back a lot of stock. The economy is deteriorating, and they're just trying to survive. And we see already that General Motors, they want to close their plant in Ohio. And Trump is saying, no, don't close the plant in Ohio. Close the plant in China or Mexico. You need the plant in the United States. We need to bring jobs home here. So close those plants, bring them all back, and we'll work something out. And the president is talking to the General Motors CEO, Mary Barra. He tweeted out the following: because the economy is so good, General Motors must get their Lordstown, Ohio plant open, maybe in a different form or with a new owner, fast. Toyota is investing $13.5 billion in the U.S. Otherwise, likewise, GM must act quickly. Time is of the essence. Why is time of the essence? Because the system's breaking down. He needs everything in place. He continued, Democrat UAW Local 1112, President David Green, ought to get his act together and produce GM. Let our country down, but other much better car companies are coming into the U.S. in droves. I want action on Lordstown fast. Stop complaining and get the job done. 3.8% unemployment. He went on to say, General Motors and the UAW are going to start talks in September, October. Why wait? Start them now. I want jobs to stay in the U.S. I want Lordstown, Ohio, in one of the best economies in our history, opened or sold to a company who will open it up fast. Car companies are all coming back to the U.S. So is everyone else. We now have the best economy in the world, the envy of all. Get that big, beautiful plant in Ohio open now. Close a plant in China or Mexico, where you invested so heavily pre-Trump, but not in the U.S. Bring jobs home. He's basically spelling it out for everyone. Listen, the jobs were forced out of the United States, into Mexico, into China, and many other countries. This was part of the globalist plan, the central bank's plan. He's telling everyone we need to bring these jobs back quickly. Why quickly? Because he knows what's happening to the economy. Remember, under the cover story of the economy doing well, this is for the mainstream media, this is for the deep state, this is for the central banks. They're the ones who are trying to counter everything that he's trying to do. And he's using his weapons, their weapons against them. So he's going to continually say the economy is fantastic. And he's telling the companies, listen, I will help. We need to bring them back because as the central bank system fails, we need to transition into something else. And we need plants, we need companies, we need jobs. We need all this in place because over time, the globalist removed all of this. And it's time to bring it back. Now, our founding fathers, they knew the secret of the central bank. They knew that if a central bank got into this country, the country would not survive. It would become corrupt, and there would be major, major problems. And they talked about this. George Washington wrote to Thomas Jefferson on August 1st, 1786, paper money has had the effect in your state that will ever have, to ruin commerce, oppress the honest, and open the door to every species of fraud and injustice. Paper is poverty. Jefferson, in turn, observed in 1788, it is the only ghost of money and not money itself. In 1817, the author of the Declaration of Independence wrote that paper money's abuses also are inevitable, and by breaking up the measure of value, make a lottery of all private property. Paper money is unjust, declared James Madison, chief architect of the Constitution. It is unconstitutional, for it affects the rights of property as much as taking away equal value in land. The founders recognized the perils of legal tender paper money, which coerces people to accepting something that may be inherently worthless, as is the case with our paper money today. Why did the men who launched this nation disdain paper money so much? They had watched British colonial governments debase their currency and consequently impoverish their citizens, including some founders. Jefferson's experience with fiat currency surely influenced his views. If we determine that a dollar shall be our unit, he wrote in 1784, we must then say with precision what a dollar is. Indeed, the Coinage Act of 1792 declared each dollar worth 371.25 grains of pure silver and 24.75 grains of pure gold. The founding fathers knew that paper money corrupts, it creates the wealth effect, and it destroys the nation. They knew the secret of a central bank system. They've seen it firsthand. They fought to get out of it. And they're telling everyone that precious metals, we need to have some type of standard that is accepted around the world. And there's no system that's absolutely perfect. But we do have the next best thing. That is gold. President James Madison summed it up. The only adequate guarantee for the uniform and stable value of paper currency is its convertibility into gold, the least fluctuating, the only universal currency. James Madison understood this, and the United States became one of the most successful countries in the history of the world because people like James Madison understood it and adhered to the principle from 1789 to 1971. Gold is the only universal currency. It is the only thing, along with its adjunct silver, that all people have agreed to use as the basis of money, which then allows fixed exchange rates between countries, vastly simplifying trade and investment. And what happened was, the central bankers did not like this. Central bankers don't like a stable system that they do not control. They like a system where they can create corruption, they can create wars, and they can profit off of those countries, those people that go into debt. This is why they steer us away from what the founding fathers really wanted. That was a gold-backed system. And this is why they steer us to other things: the stock market, derivatives, paper contracts on gold and silver. And they tell us that gold and silver, they're worthless. They're not really that important. We look at them, they're shiny, but that's about it. And you really don't need to hold gold. You don't need any of this. You don't need silver. Because the central bankers, they know they need to educate everyone into thinking that their system is the only system. This is why back in 1913, all books and everything was completely changed. And they started to introduce their economic teachings to the American public, teaching them that debt is good, that their system is the only system, that the Fed is very important. The Fed is helping the United States. And over generation, the next generation, people lost sight of what gold and silver really were, what sound money really was, and what a real system, an economic system, really would be like without the central bank. Why do you think there were two other central banks in this country and they were kicked out? Because people realized, and there were certain individuals that stood up to them and said, no, we're not going down this path again. But once again, the central bankers corrupted certain individuals in 1913, and ever since then, the corruption spread, and it continued to spread across the nation. We were educated to think in the central bank way. Now we are waking up. Now the patriots are saying, once again, just like with Andrew Jackson, who went on the campaign trail against the central bank and eventually removed the central bank, the same thing is happening once again. The people are going to be educated of what the central bank is, how the central bank destroyed America, corrupted politicians. We are just at the beginning stage of all of this. The education process has just started, just like the education process of all those treasonous traders that were selling secrets to China, that were stealing billions of dollars, how their operations work. The same thing is going to come out against the central bank. And we will return to what the founding fathers originally gave us. Yes, over time, many, many years down the line, the next generation after that, they're going to have to fight for it again. If you noticed, the central bankers, they always try to get back into the system. Just because they're gone doesn't mean they're gone for good. These corrupt individuals will always try to sneak back in. And once again, people are going to have to fight for this, for a system that is controlled by sound money, where people create the currency, without interest attached. There is no central bank. There is no system that is a private corporation. It's going to be a system of we the people who are creating the currency so we the people can use it. This is the biggest fear of the central bank, having a system run without them showing people how great an economy can be. And this is where the patriots are bringing us. And we're headed in that direction. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.